Good evening, everyone. This is Keith Johnson with your Business Buzz for Monday, December 30th, 2024. And it'll be fairly quick this time. Not much going on. We did have, of course, today was a sad day in the political and entertainment world. Former President Jimmy Carter died at the ripe old age of 100. If you recall, Jimmy Carter was the first president that I really understood. I mean, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and yeah, I knew about Nixon, and I'd hear about Watergate, but didn't know too much about it. And then you had Gerald Ford, who was my boy. He was from Michigan, and he was there for a couple years. And I do remember when Carter beat Ford in the 76 election. I remember not going to my elementary fifth grade classroom the next day and overturning desks because my boy had been beaten. But it was a different time. But no, President Carter was he was a much better man than he was a president. If you all recall, he was quite frankly pretty bad with foreign policy, and probably even worse with the economy. He wasn't very. He let a lot of stuff goes on. Yes, he did broker the Camp David Accords, which was actually signed here in Jacksonville. If you didn't know that, but fun fact there. But he didn't, he really, had the failed hostage rescue attempt. He let the Iranians kidnap the hostages. It took President Reagan coming in 81 to get him free. And he really didn't have any plans. And he admitted it too. He said, we were in a malaise, and he wasn't wrong. So, however, he was a good man in that after being president, he established or was one of the early driving forces in Habitat for Humanity, which is called Habijacks here in Jacksonville. And what he would do is go around to all sorts of communities throughout the country and help build homes. For decades after. He actually came to my hometown in around 2004, 2005, and stayed there a month building houses. There's some areas in my hometown that are pretty neglected with as far as housing. So he did a great job. And he won the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize. And so he we'll miss him. He was a great man, but I can't say he was a great president, but he was a great man. Also, ironically, on the same day, we lost an actress, Linda Lavin, who was who was starred in Alice. Actually, she starred in Broadway several years before Alice, but she played the lead character in Alice. And I'll be honest, it's one of the shows I watched quite a bit in my middle school, high school years. I always liked, Mel saying "Stow it" or Polly Holiday's saying "Kiss my grits." So we will miss her too. She lived to be 87, and apparently was wrapping up or just wrapped up like in the last month some work. So she was active right up until the end. So we're closing out the fiscal year, which means that tax season is right on down the road. And what that means for you is you've got just a few more hours to get some last minute donations. You're probably getting bombarded with emails from any charitable organizations you've dealt with saying, come on, get those last second donations in. And it's true, if if you go in, if you get it in before midnight tomorrow night, you'll be, they'll count towards 2024. Now, as a CPA, okay, so there's two ways to attack this. One, from a charitable thing, yes, do it, give as much as you can. However, don't give charitable contributions to chase a tax benefit unless you know that you have other taxes. And the reason for that is your itemized deductions consist of basically four things: medical expenses, SALT, state and local taxes, which include your property tax, mortgage interest, and charitable contributions. So, but the total of those allowable expenses have to exceed the standard deduction. Standard deduction for 2024 is about 29,000. So, and we've discussed this before. So, most people, and ever since this was introduced, starting with tax year 2018, only about 10% of people, give or take, are allowed to or are able to itemize their deductions as opposed to taking the standard deduction. I think in my practice, that's pretty consistent too. Very few people can take advantage. Now, if you're close enough with your SALT, you've had some medical expenses, and those are hard to deduct too, and mortgage interest, and you're close to the cutoff around 14.4 for single and the 28.8 for married filing joint, then you might, if you have some extra cash lying around, you might want to give it just to get it over that amount. But if you know that there's no way in God's green earth you're going to exceed that with your contributions, then don't break your back over it. If you get satisfaction of it, great, but don't do it just to get a tax write-off. That's what I'm saying. Do it because you want to, not because there's a tax reason. Okay, so I think that'll do it for today. Like I said, today, tomorrow, probably Wednesday, there's going to be slow days. We probably won't see a whole lot until maybe Friday at the earliest, and probably not until next week. So, but we'll be on tomorrow. So take care as we continue the countdown, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.